Okay, I'll call the meeting to order. First of all, we need to approve the agenda. Would someone move that, please? Lorraine, and a seconder. Chris, thank you. All in favor of the agenda? Great, thank you. And we're not adopting minutes because this is a special meeting. Disclosure of monetary interest, anybody? No? All right, let's go right ahead then with our discussion of the proposed town square bandstand. Who is going to start this off? This conversation.
Maybe Councillor McGuire.
Carl?
Just, oh, sorry.
Carl put his hand up, and so did Chris. So who would like to go first?
I'll let Councillor McGuire go.
Okay. Thank you.
Well, thanks to everybody for having this last minute meeting. I know we thought we were going to get St. Patrick's Day off, but here we are. So Monday night's council meeting, we had a great presentation from Quentin and the bandstand designs, and it's really time sensitive because you've got a ton of projects, and our window of summer is closing, so that's why we called it. There was some discussion at the council meeting narrowing down options between this option 1 and 2 and some different design comments. So I think with that, I don't know, Carl or Quentin or Art, who wants to take it from there?
Sure. So what we've done is we engaged Quentin, who's with, hello?
Yes.
No, hello? Just Carl's child has got his face in the camera.
Okay.
So who's with Wildwood Designs out of Perth, and he's done a significant amount of work in terms of taking a look at what some of the options are around creating a bandstand in the park. Now this is a new structure, but obviously we want to have the look and feel. And he's captured some of the architectural features around town that exist in other buildings and tried to incorporate those into the design that we came through with. And so, Quentin, if you wanted to kind of lead people through, similar to what we did at the council meeting. Now, when council discussed this, they did narrow it down to a couple of different options that they enjoyed. I did ask Quentin to add kind of a third. Hello?
Yeah, we kind of lost you there for a minute.
Did you? Sorry.
Yeah.
So the idea is that we've council identified a couple of options that they enjoyed. I've asked Quentin to add a third that was
we kind of lost you there for
something that's easier to maintain, but may not be as quite as ornate. But the idea would be to get your feedback on the different components, and then we can give Quentin final direction on creating the design and then forwarding the project. So there's a couple of different components to this, and one is that we have two different funding sources that go into this project. We are anticipating kind of hearing about the first one, which covers the structure within the next few weeks. And we're very confident that we'll receive that funding, and that will give us authority to kind of move ahead with the project. And the other part of this is the creation of the design for the town square. So we have a landscape architect working on that, and obviously fitting this in as kind of a cornerstone of that project. So what we'd like to do is get your feedback on it, and then give Quentin direction on creating the final design that we can then bring back and get approval on. So Quentin, if you'd like to kind of show them what we've got.
Yeah, if I could share my screen. So can everyone see my screen right now?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I didn't get to finish this drawing today, but you can see here I've taken the the ramp off on one side and started putting in a staircase, and then the other ramp stayed there. I've kind of raised the foundation up to 20 inches just to give you a look at what that would look like. Now there's some significant issues relating to doing this. So, I mean, we're going to explore this, but we'll see what comes of it. So the two options that were highlighted yesterday was this one with the arched transom here.
Mhm.
And the other one, sorry, they're all here. Just find the other one. And this is a more of a Nova Scotia pattern here. So those are the two options that were highlighted, and then the simpler option to maintain would be, let me find it here. Is it?
Making me dizzy.
Sorry, this one here. So it's a much more geometric design. Just a straight transom on the top there, and then at the bottom, kind of staggered railing there. The only problem with the railing for us is that we have to keep the space between the railings less than 3.5 inches for safety.
Yes.
Yeah.
Quentin, do you have the reference points that you used at council? Some of the pictures from
Yes.
houses and things around town that might be helpful for people?
So you can see here on the top right, there's this nice ornate bracket that I took and I've put on most of these models. I think something like that I've seen quite a bit around town, and there's not that many. There'd be only 16 of those, and I think it really adds a lot of ornamental architectural details to the piece. So in terms of ornamental millwork, we have the frieze, the brackets, and the railing. Those are the three components that we have to make a decision on. And then the second option here is this nice curved frieze with the same type of bracket. Now these brackets, they can be whatever we want. We can design that and make those whatever we want. And on the bottom right here, you can see this curved handrail baluster design here that gives it kind of a rounded shape at the base, which could be nice. So those are the two more ornate designs, and then the final design is this one. So this is everything's kind of just pared down. It's much simpler, be more cost effective. And yeah, so those are the three designs that have been selected or proposed. Any?
The pictures that you took and displayed are from buildings around town, so those are direct references to local structures. So yeah, I've taken a few drives through Smiths Falls, and I was able to see some of the architectural details on the old buildings, and I kind of took that as an inspiration. Now there was 3 other options. And this is more of a Victorian style here, and you can see it's a lot more ornate, a lot of turn spindles, and you have on the railing flat sawn baluster. Now this, looking at it, you can see there's some safety concerns here, so maybe this one would not be too advisable, but we can notice the bracket's quite nice, bit of a different design, 3-piece bracket with a turned right here with a turned little finial there, and then this one, it's somewhere near Maple Street. This is just a more conventional type of design with turned spindles on both the top and bottom. Yeah, so I try to stay in keeping with the town's architectural history. So Quentin, can we put up a screen that has the different options that people could look at?
And not sure if I can make this full screen here. Oh, didn't like that. There we go.
So are we looking then at 1, 2, and 5?
Yes.
Okay.
I know it's hard to see. The resolution isn't great. Maybe we can start with some questions or thoughts and go from there.
Just as a point, you know, those are the ones, 1 and 2 are the ones that council identified. Doesn't mean you can't, you know, take a look at something else and you know, enjoy it as well.
And yeah, and also if there's some architectural details that you've seen around town that should be considered as a source of inspiration, feel free to send those pictures to me, and I'll definitely take a look at it and see if we can incorporate it in any way in the design. Yep. Any questions?
Can you put us all back on so we can see if someone puts their hand up, or do we all have our microphones?
Lorraine has her hand up.
I have a few questions or comments if you don't mind me starting.
Yeah.
My understanding at our meeting on Monday night was that we were asking the Municipal Heritage Committee to comment on 1 or 2. Now, 5 at that time, I don't remember seeing a 5 option similar to what we see now. And I personally find it very, maybe cheaper, but it also doesn't come across to me as a really lovely heritage design or similar to even our town. And when we look at all of the work Quentin's done to mimic the kind of heritage features that our downtown and our heritage buildings have, I think there are some simpler, maybe even cheaper ones that would mimic better. Like for instance, on number 1, if you look at the corner, that house is a beautiful place. And it's got similar to, I know all of you, that bottom right-hand corner. It's very much like the Elmira pattern, only the
Yes.
Elmira pattern didn't have the just had the crosses. But it's very simple and perhaps not as expensive as some of the more scrolled ones. But for me, the ones with just all the plain design, it doesn't seem to really be as nice.
Yeah.
And I also think my colleagues weren't really looking at that one. They didn't give any feedback on it because we didn't see it.
Oh, that's a good point. I think this one who's close to the Elmira design is just pretty simple crosses here. The only issue with something like this, again, Lorraine, is if we look at the building code, that wouldn't go. So we need a special dispensation or something like that to that effect, because kids can put their heads in there and get stuck or something like that. But it's, so if I look at the building code, something like that is harder to get through inspection, but we can look into it. Oh, do I say, okay, Councillor Hoffman?
Thank you. No, not counselor, just board member.
Oh, Board Member Hoffman.
Thank you. Yes. What is the price difference between 1 and 2? And are we worrying about the price?
Well, I don't know yet. I need a final design to start pricing that out.
I see.
So, I mean, 1 and 2 would be the same amount of lumber and work. And I mean, don't quote me on this, but you could go down maybe 15 grand for a simpler version. So it's not that much more. It would just require a little less labor, a little less painting. So yeah, but
So
I don't
Kate-
know yet. I haven't done the full estimate yet.
Okay,
Okay.
so Katie, just as an aside, it's not necessarily the price that we're looking at. I mean, obviously we want to get
Okay.
what we pay for. but we're looking at the fit with the rest of the place, you know, there may be some maintenance requirements and things. It's just identifying that before we settle on a design.
Okay, thanks.
Councillor McGuire?
Thanks, Quentin. We can just do first names in this one.
Okay.
We got, so you're saying number 2 is going to be easier from a building code perspective?
I think so. Yeah. The balusters are pretty close together, so that would solve that problem. The other thing we could do is go ornate on the transom and frieze, but keep the balusters pretty simple. That's another option too. And it would just be easier to maintain, and it would probably allow for a better viewing experience as well.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions or? Okay. Yep.
Could we, sorry, I'm just trying to think back to Monday. Right now we've got steps and a ramp. I'm wondering if we just need one. Could we get away with one ramp that kind of goes towards the parking lot, or you know, if a band's setting up or that kind of thing? And do we really need those steps off the front of it, or could we cut those?
It depends on height, Chris. Just the idea would be that we would have one ramp, but the height still requires a 1 in 12. So if we have 2 feet of height, as an example, we have a 24-foot ramp coming off the back. And we're saying coming off the back because it hasn't necessarily been confirmed, but the idea of putting that back towards the parking lot behind Town Hall is probably the best design option for that. But that's something that we'd have to work with Quentin and the landscape architect to factor in. So the height will be somewhat determined by what we can do from a landscape perspective to get us better view. So if we can get, you know, better view of the structure with berms or with the landscaping, then we'll try to do that as well, so that it decreases the height requirement in terms of what that means for a ramp. So, you know, you can appreciate that building this in you know, 1908 would have had different requirements in terms of safety and accessibility than we have today. So we just need to build those components into it and make it feasible to do.
So my question is, can we take those steps off the front of it? Is that, do we need 2 access points, or can we get away with just the ramp on the back?
No, from a safety perspective, we would need at least 2 access points. So we don't want somebody getting cornered on the, you know, in the bandstand and not have a way out.
Okay, and is that a building code thing, or is that a preference?
It's both building code as well as park safety. There's a safety requirement in terms of lighting and lines of sight and some of those pieces that have to be incorporated into the park design. So that's what we're trying to work with.
I guess I'm just thinking that's the front of the stage. So to have a set of steps there, is it gonna be awkward? I don't know. But anyway, that's and I guess my last comment would be, if we can raise it up. Originally it was going to be a concrete pad, I think, on the bottom. And now if it's higher, is it going to be better to go with a wood floor on posts or some kind of like design more like a porch? Or is it still best to have this kind of big concrete structure? And then if there is there any kind of surface treatment we should put on those sides to give it a little bit of a, it's just not the gray kind of concrete finish?
Do you want me to answer that, Art, or?
Yeah, sure.
So to put it on piers, you're looking at a floor system with wood, so that would involve more maintenance. So in terms of concrete pad, you're looking at a lot less maintenance, more durability, better foundation, less possibility of shifting or anything like that. And in terms of the covering the concrete slab, it would be landscaped. So you would have bushes, plants, and all that stuff around it. So it'll definitely be. What's that?
Quentin, I would just add though, last night on the night of our meeting, I don't think, how much grass or ground space is there, Art? Because when looking at the picture, the bulk of what's around that is going to be some kind of pretend stonework, right?
No, there will be plantings all around the base. So within that square or round, depending on kind of how we go with that, there will be plantings around the base.
Yeah, I think the gardens would come off 6 of the 8 sides. So the 2 entrances would be clear with a path, and then on the sides there would be garden beds or something like that. But the landscape architect, we're having a meeting with him on Thursday, and we're going to try to flush all those designs and update all those drawings from him to incorporate your ideas here. So if you have any suggestions, make them now, and we'll discuss it over with him on Thursday. Yes, Lorraine?
I'm sorry that I'm the only one that keeps talking, but if we have to have the 2 exits, like the 2 ramps were too much, I thought, took up too much of the park and it was too much.
Yeah.
And 1 ramp is going to make it an accessible structure.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather have what we consider the front of the building that's facing the front of the town square.
Yeah.
With an original railing that matches the porch-like feel of the bandstand railing.
Yeah.
Because I think a standalone set of stairs is going to just look odd.
Yeah, and I'm gonna send you those drawings tomorrow. I'm gonna work on everything that we talk about today. And if I get an email list, I'll send all the revised drawings tomorrow. So
we can
right now,
send it through the staff support. So we'll send it through Carl and Mary.
So I'll amend the drawings to take into account a staircase and some railings. And I'll try to make a visual representation of what it would look like around the concrete pad. And I can also play around with the ramp itself. I know the landscape architect had the good idea of making it, if you can follow my screen here, I don't know if this is going to be clear, but he discussed taking the ramp and running it around 2 sides of the structure. Does that make sense?
2 exits, you mean?
More like a
on the
switchback type of thing,
Yeah.
instead of just a long ramp.
So if you look at my screen here, you would go up here, then you would turn 22.5 degrees, you'd go here, and then you'd get onto the platform up here. So it would make the footprint a lot smaller if we wrapped the ramp around that way. So that was an idea that we're still exploring right now, but it would be a way of not having a 20-foot or 16-foot ramp coming off the building.
The idea though that we talked about having it going into the parking lot so that the landscape could design foliage and greenery all the way back, and so it wouldn't really be, you wouldn't look at that as a ramp because it would be sort of just in part of the green space design.
Yeah.
And so incorporating it into the landscaping is something that we're looking at doing. And as Quentin said, we're meeting tomorrow morning with the architect so we can review some of the feedback and the feedback that we get from the group today.
And I think, Lauren, that's our incorporating the landscape and playing with the elevation of the landscape. That's probably our our number one option right now. That's the one we're looking into the most. But we'll see where that compromise lands between how high can we get it and how practical is it to landscape around that. And the our landscape architect will kind of guide us and see what he says. But yeah, that's the main option right now.
Everybody gives their opinion on 1 and 2 and some of the features. I understand now from Quentin's description of the cross, you know, the square, that I understand that that's not something we can use, but how do people feel about the railings? Which railing do they think it would suit best? I like the one on option 2 at the bottom right-hand corner. That's on my street. Every second house has that type of railing and it's very prominent in town. And it doesn't look that complicated.
No, that's the one that I've saw the most prevalent in that neighborhood on Maple Avenue,
Yeah.
Maple Street. I see that one everywhere, so I thought I'd incorporate it. And I'll try to get a view here of it. Where's my? So here you can see it's a little
Mhm.
it's a little bellied out here. Can you see
Yeah.
that?
Except that, like, if you look at the wooden ones that are on the houses, the top part and the bottom part aren't that big. Like, you know what I mean? Is that again another building code issue?
Sorry, can you sorry, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
Well, I don't know what you call it. Those spindles are connected top and bottom. What's that
Yeah.
called? What are those two pieces called?
Balusters
The balusters.
and the handrail.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're just a minute ago when you were showing something, they looked very wide in comparison to what.
Yeah, well, so the
maybe it's
baluster,
just the-
I incorporated it in the timber frame. So
Yeah.
those will be, they're called Girts in timber framing.
Right.
So those
okay.
are full 4x8.
Yeah.
So it'll be more of a place that you can kind of sit down and lean on. It'll be very strong that way.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So there's actually in this area here, there's a mortise and tenon that's giving a mechanical lock on the top and bottom there. So it'll be sturdy and strong. I think that's the best option for something like this.
But the space, Quentin, correct me if I'm wrong, but it has to be less than 4 inches. Is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah. Sorry. Yeah. I look at this now. I said 4x8, but I meant 4x4. I would be taking a 4x8 and ripping it in two. That's how. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the profile of this handrail is something that we can discuss in terms of what millwork we want to do on it. We can round it. We can throw it through a shaper and essentially get any type of shape to it. I just have to buy the knives for it.
You're talking about a profile.
Yeah. So we can pick a profile in town, and I can just order the custom knives from a company, and then I run it through my shaper and we mill that piece there. So that's something also, if you want to give me your suggestions through email or send me a picture, I'd be happy to look into it.
So who's the chair here? Like, how do we, I'm just trying to figure out how we can get that, collect the feedback from the group and get that back to us so that we can try to incorporate those, the vision of the group into the design.
So Dorothy,
I'm the chair, but as long as these drawings are on my screen, I can't see anybody except the person who's speaking, and that's why I've been so quiet. Someone else has been fielding the questions.
Oh,
So-
let me stop should I stop sharing so you can see everybody?
Well, only if everyone's finished looking.
Okay.
Is everybody okay with that?
Yep.
Okay.
So if you can just let us know how you want to handle the feedback, then we can move from there.
Carl?
Just a quick question for Art. When were you looking for the feedback to be submitted by?
Yesterday?
Okay. So I guess the
No,
question.
I guess the issue is, we need to give Quentin enough time to kind of redesign. We need to bring this to the landscape architect, and then we need to get something back before council so that they're comfortable with it before we tell Quentin to go start cutting lumber. So the sooner the better, obviously.
So you want us to indicate which option then, basically, as a group?
Yeah, I mean, your thoughts as a group, just
And-
collectively, like if there's
Yeah.
certain features that you like, then let us know about those and we'll try to incorporate those features into it. If you have comments on the ramp or even the color, or right now, Quentin, you're talking about what were you talking about for finishing the wood?
All back linseed oil paint.
Okay,
That's the.
so it's a long lasting.
Yeah, it's a penetrating. It's like a heavy stain, but it's a top coat as well. It penetrates the wood, and then there's a very sturdy top coat layer. They use it in Europe all over the place for historical monuments. They use it in Versailles. They use it in England. It's just a great product, and I have some friends who've used it before on their houses, and they haven't had to repaint or any touch-ups or anything. So I'm quite confident in this product. The only thing, obviously, is that it's quite the finishing schedule. So you're looking at waiting 2 days between coats, and there's quite a bit of there's something to putting this finish on, but it's very good. I would recommend it for a timber frame.
So any of that, Dorothy, would be very helpful information, and we can use that for the next phases of the design.
So I vote for number 2. And I like the rounded ramp.
Okay. Well, I'll send a drawing tomorrow morning with what we've talked about, and we can kind of use that as a launching pad to just give it the final touches. Maybe when you submit your recommendations, it can be in bullet points, sorry. And maybe I can just name some categories right now, and you can discuss it and kind of come up with some answers. So there's if someone wants to write this down, or I can write it down and send it by email. But there's the color, the architectural details, and in the subcategories of that, there's the frieze, the handrail, the balusters, and the brackets. So those are the kind of 4 things we have to decide on to finalize. In terms of roofing options, we're thinking a metal shingle or metal roof, right, Art?
Mm-hmm.
In terms of just maintenance, it's the easiest and it looks good. On the inside, it's going to be tongue and groove. All inside, it'll be kind of vaulted towards the top. It'll be tongue and groove. So that's, I think, kind of all already decided. In the middle, there's a pediment and a finial, and that's going to be turned. But I think I've got that covered in terms of the design for that. So what else? There's recommendations could include landscaping and ramps, I guess. Is there anything that I missed, Art?
No, I think that's a good start. We have been looking from a practical design perspective. We've been looking at things like the safety of it, the visibility for people using it, kind of critter protection, so that we're trying not to create spaces where skunks would like to live under and that type of thing. Keeping birds out of it as much as possible, and so that's what the ceiling and roof design that Quentin's kind of put together helps us to discourage that kind of activity. Some of the finishes are also designed practically that way. The other thing that we didn't talk about at council meeting, just so you know, is that we are going to be running power out to this, so that we will have lighting There will be a sound system that people will be able to plug in there to be able to use for performances. You know, that type of thing will be incorporated into the design. We haven't settled at all on kind of what that looks like at this point, but we will be as we perfect the design.
So does anyone else have questions? Chris?
I guess my question is, is there any consensus on option 1 or 2, or where are people's heads at from those 2 choices? Katie's 2. Ryan's 2.
Me
Jenny's
too. Yeah,
Okay.
number 2.
Me too.
So I don't, Quentin, do we need to get into architectural details for you, or is that enough direction, at least from this committee? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, unless there's a bracket that someone really wants, I can go ahead and design it and submit that in my final design. And if there's any objection, like those are things that I can change anytime until I make it, right? I've proposed something that's quite ornate, so that's what I'm expecting to do. So if there's any other designs that someone's really attached to, I really don't mind taking a look at it. So apart from that, I think I've got it covered.
I guess, sorry to backtrack on people, but the concrete pad side of it is kind of in my mind. I'm picturing this kind of gray behemoth, and I'm worried it's going to take away from all of this ornate stuff we've got on top. So I'm wondering, maintenance wise, I get the concrete's ideal. Cost wise, is it similar to, or like, are there any advantages to doing a wood floor in it, or is the concrete the way to go?
It's probably the best way to go, but if I could, maybe I could share screen, because I've got the landscape architect's kind of concept that was presented Monday. So when you look at this, sorry, just trying to get a, whoops. See, around the structure, it was, other than where the stairs or ramp would be plantings. So the idea is to select plantings that don't go up, you know, well beyond the rail system, because you want it to be visible and easily viewed from different vantage points in the park. But the idea was to do that, and part of that is Chris, as you say, to kind of make sure that that's not the feature that you see, that you'll see kind of greenery, and that's why, like, this picture, you know, it's not at all what we're looking to design, but the concept was to have plantings around the base so that you don't necessarily see that base piece. So, you know, where it's facing, you would actually see stairs, or, you know, whatever it is that we design that gets you to that level, and those would kind of cover that front, and then the rest of it would be covered by greenery.
And I'm just going to suggest this, Art. If inside of the form we put a kind of a concrete stamp to make it look less like concrete and more like a textured slate or something.
Yeah.
I mean, I've done that a bunch of times working on timber frames, where the timber frame is sitting on a slab, and the slab has been textured to look like slate usually. So we could talk to the contractor who's going to do the foundation and just have him incorporate those stamps inside of the form on the spots that are the most visible. I wouldn't do it on the whole thing, but maybe on the ramps, it'd be something that could work well aesthetically.
Yeah, and the idea would be that it's not what's going to draw your eye. You know, it's going to blend into the background. So that's why the architectural features hopefully are going to be the piece that kind of draws that. And to me, the roof structure and you know, the brackets at the top of the posts, and those are the pieces that are going to be what you see when you walk into the park, or you drive by the park for that matter.
I think the stamping is a great idea, because even with the plantings, you know, there's still going to be 6 months of the year where we're not going to probably get that full coverage of blocking it out. So if we're doing any kind of Christmas or that kind of seasonal winter carnival stuff, then it would just kind of make it have more of a complete look to it. So I don't know what the rest of the committee, how people feel on that, but just something to keep it from being that gray kind of shiny wall on picture.
Yeah, we don't like that look, so it's okay. Dorothy, you're muted.
There. What else do you need us to do? Besides choosing the design, do you need more detailed input from us? And when would you need more detailed input? And how would we go about providing it?
I think you can do that through your staff resource, but what we're looking for here is just, the overall look and feel of the piece. Does it fit with what your vision of, kind of what should be there or what could be there? We base this on the idea that this is the town square. It's between, it's going to lie between two heritage buildings. You've got the Carnegie Library and Town Hall. That's a 1870s schoolhouse. You want something that fits in that space, but we also want something that can be practically used. So the rest of the town square, as an example, is designed as a gathering place. There could be farmers markets, there could be events, there could be political pronouncements. We could give Chris a little box that he could stand on in the but it is a multi-purpose space that hopefully looks like it was always there.
Chris?
The only other thing, Dorothy, I think we should look into later is the lighting, because I know with the Elmira one, the lightings are really, it's a documented feature. It really pops out. And it also, I think, has an important safety vandalism aspect to it. So maybe as we get down the road, if we could look at that would be good.
Yeah, and the idea from council on Monday was to extend the lighting that is currently in Beckwith and some of the parks to this park. So with the same look and feel.
Does anyone have any color suggestions?
Color.
Not purple.
I like the library color. And I like the fact that this is part of that, like, one square. And so I think the colors should at the very least complement one another.
So what color is that? Sorry, I'm not familiar.
Katie, help me. It's kind of
It's a creamy.
Yeah, it's a creamy yellow kind of.
Yeah.
with the real Victorian green, deep dark green color.
Oh, so it's two tones.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Well, the library isn't, though, is it?
The library,
Green on the library?
isn't it?
Me, I'm looking it up.
Imagining that. Chris, do you remember?
I'm thinking maybe, is that one we could think about and get back
Yes,
on?
of course. Yeah.
We'll use that as part of our palette though too. So.
If you go on the
No, I have it.
oh, sorry.
Oh, it's a cream color with an orangier brick. Can't see it there, can you? Yes, there. See,
Mhm.
cream on
Yeah,
the
steps-
front
The steps are the
portico.
color I was talking about, the deep green color. Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, is that your green in your eyes? Okay.
So the wood is the cream color,
Yeah,
the pillars, right?
Yeah.
right.
The
And
building on, it's not the color of the building on the other side, though.
I
Which
think
is
all
it?
the trim is the same color, that cream.
On the central school, I mean,
No, not on this, not on the school. The school's white.
yeah, it's white.
What color will the roof be, Quentin? Like,
Well-
pardon?
it'll be very dependent on the paint color, I would say.
Oh, I see. It can be different colors.
Yeah, you can get steel roof that usually a company manufactures in a range of colors. There's not too many, but you green, red, blue, black, white, gray, cream. It's quite a bit of options there. If you go on the Allback website, you can look at their catalog as well and make a recommendation directly from
How do you spell that? You're saying all back or all back?
back. Yeah, it's a company from, I think, New Zealand.
How do you spell it?
You spell it A-L-B, sorry, let me, A-L-B-A-C-K.
Okay.
Oh, two L's, A-L-L-B-A-C-K. Linseed paint.
Chris, did you want to ask or? No?
Yes, so sorry, that answers my question.
So I think we have some good information here from you today, and we'll use that tomorrow when we have our discussion. If there's anything further, if you can get it to us, obviously don't wait too long, but we'll use the information that we've gathered to incorporate into the new design, and then we're hoping to again get that before council sooner rather than later, so that we can finalize it. And once funding is approved, then we can march straight ahead with the project.
Carl?
So I think if anybody does have any additional feedback or questions, if you can just send them to me, and I will send Art an aggregated anything just in aggregate all together by the end of the week.
Sounds good. Yes, Quentin.
And I should have a revised drawing ready by midday. So then I'll incorporate all the ideas we've talked about today, and we can go from there.
And what I can do is, once we have that, I can circulate it back to the group. So Carl and Mary, if you can forward it to people, if you can take a look once we have that, then you can let us know whether we've captured what your thoughts were.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Well,
Good.
thank you very much for that. And also thank you to the committee members for being available on such short notice. That was great.
I see a lot of green, so that's good. Enjoy St. Patrick's Day.
Very
Okay.
interesting.
Thanks
Thank
a lot. Appreciate it.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Item on the agenda would be the round table.
Yeah, and Dorothy, can I just say for a
Yes.
minute before he signs off, Quentin, thank you so much. The amount of time you have, no, seriously. The amount of time you have redrawn and rethought out things, and I really appreciate it. And I know I speak for all of the committee. We're so happy to have you doing this project, and
good.
look forward to, just doing many more projects in our town. So
Yeah, well,
thank you for that.
when I graduated Algonquin College 5 years ago, this is exactly kind of the dream project. And when I started my company, this is kind of the dream project that I've always wanted to do. So, saw the opportunity almost 2 years ago now, and submitted that first thing. So I'm happy it's panning out, and I look forward to working on this. It's,
Great. So are we.
we'll be able to show our kids, and Dad built this 20 years ago. with 10
Yeah.
people or whatever. Yeah. All right. Well, I'll let you to it. See you soon.
Thank you.
And
Okay, so going ahead with the agenda, the only other thing is round table. If anyone would like to mention anything, now's your chance.
I haven't done the heritage hunt. I have no idea. I looked at that the other night. I'm going to drag my husband out, I think, on the weekend. When is the deadline? Is Friday the deadline or Monday?
31st.
Oh, not to that. Okay. All right. Then I could probably get him to come with me. Yeah. Some of them were, okay. I thought, yeah, I'm pretty sure that's where it was. But some of them, I know I've seen it, but I don't know where it is. It was very well designed, Jenny. Thank you for that.
Thanks.
Anyone else? No? All right, well, then the next meeting is April 21st. And if no one else has any comments, we'll have a motion to adjourn. Chris, thank you. Meeting adjourned.